On today's show, we're giving you 5.5 dead easy, low-cost ways to revolutionize how you get high-paying commercial clients through the door.
Welcome to Commercial Photographer, your guide to marketing, creativity, and growth. This is a podcast that helps professional, commercial, brand, and headshot photographers navigate the competitive world of commercial photography with practical advice and actionable strategies to grow your business.
Well, hello there, Sam. How you doing?
Very good, Marcus. And you?
I am terrific.
Excellent. That's good.
So tell me, Sam, what are you going to be talking about on this show?
So, Marcus, today we're going to be talking about 5.5 low-cost marketing strategies for UK photographers. It's a packed show, but by the end there's going to be loads of things to take away. One of the things we're talking about is that hidden database on your hard drive, an overlooked source of paying clients that you already possess, and how you can legally contact them right now. We're also going to talk about how you can break the ice with big decision makers using a simple 3-step blueprint on LinkedIn. Finally, we'll cover the low-cost client funnel you need, mastering the plan to move a first-time buyer from a simple headshot to your full high-value brand packages.
Brilliant.
So go on, Marcus. Have a guess what number one is going to be. I think you're going to get there.
Oh God. Okay, it could be a lot of things. Email marketing.
He's got there. Number one, email marketing.
Oh God, is it really? Oh my Lord, Sam. Okay.
So number one,
important.
Email marketing. Important. Number one, email marketing. So low cost. You'd need to pay a subscription to a email marketing company, but this is pretty low cost. We're talking 10, 15 quid a month, probably as like, if you've got a list of 10,000, it's going to cost you a bit more, but you should be getting the income from that. But yeah, for most of us, people who generally have a few hundred up to 1,000, that it's kind of low cost. So 2 things you need to be doing. 1 is growing your list and 2 is using your list. Okay, we talked about these in lots of other shows, so much more detail, but this is kind of a 5 things. So this is just kind of a quick summary. So yes, how can you grow your email marketing list? 1, put all your clients into it. You're perfectly allowed to talk to them and market to them. And people who've already bought from you are much more likely to buy from you again than anyone else because they already know, like, and trust you. Brilliant. Put all your leads in from at least the last 3 years. A bit beyond that's a bit more iffy. But under GDPR rules, you are perfectly entitled to put all of your leads into your email marketing list and to email them. Okay? Because they've already made an inquiry. They've already shown interest in your product. So you're perfectly entitled to email them. You don't need to get them to tick a box to be on the list. You can just put them on the list. That is perfectly allowed. If it was 10 years ago, it's a bit iffy. But, if they recently inquired and you're still running the same business. So if you used to have a car wash business and you're down doing photography, you can't do that. But as long as they inquired about photography and you're still doing photography, that's great. They can go on your list. Okay. And then the third one is...
I was going to say you can go to LinkedIn and you can actually download your client list from there as a CSV file, and sometimes they've got their emails on there.
Do you mean your contacts?
Contact list, yes, your contact
connections.
List.
You can't just put your connections in there, Marcus. That's not allowed.
You can't. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Just because they've said they connect with you doesn't mean they're interested in your product and you can market to them. Right. You have to get permission from them. Yeah, don't do that. So yes, leads are different because they've contacted you and said specifically, "Hello, I am interested in photography." While the people you connect in LinkedIn have just connected. Yeah, it's quite different. The other thing is ways to then grow your list. Apart from that, things like lead magnets, free downloads or giveaways. Most people do downloads on your website where people fill in their name and email. You get their details. They get the free download. Your mailing list grows. Everybody's happy. So once you've got this list, what do you do with it? 1, send email newsletters. Okay. And if you're sending email newsletters, they need to be engaging and valuable and targeted to your ideal audience. Yeah. People need to want to read them. So they've got to be full of really useful stuff that's interesting to them. Okay. There are too many out there where people are talking about where they went on holiday, what they did last week, the fact the sales aren't quite as good as they should be, and maybe their dog needs to go to the vet. Nobody cares. I say nobody cares a lot, don't I, Marcus, on this show? Right. Nobody cares. Yeah. Who are your target audience? You know, are they small businesses in Wiltshire? What's on the minds of small business owners in Wiltshire? And what are you going to help them with? Maybe you're helping them with about the way they can put themselves forward on LinkedIn visually because you're a photographer. Yeah. Maybe you spoke to an accountant recently and they gave you a really good tip and you're going to share that with them. But it's stuff that's ideal for your target audience. Think about them, not yourself. Yeah. So leave them finding
I know we did a
and
show.
Wanting more.
I know we did a show on this, Sam, but I guess you could say your email should be about you as opposed to I.
Yes, exactly. It needs to be about them and what's useful to them and what's interesting to them. Not about yourself. That's dead right. Okay. And the other thing as well as kind of newsletters like that is do as well send out promotional emails, offers, tell them what you buy. And you've got to balance that. You want to send out more useful ones where you're educating and making people want more than you do with the sales ones. But you do want to sell, so do also from time to time, I've got this offer at the moment, or did you know that I do this? And that's perfectly fine. That's what the list is there for. So that's our first low-cost marketing strategy is email marketing. Did I do that concisely enough, Marcus, do you think?
Yep, sure. Of course, as Sam did say, we have done quite a few shows on email marketing. So please refer back to those. Well,
actually, when I looked, we don't. I just mentioned it in lots of shows.
We've done a couple of shows.
We've done a few.
On email marketing.
But over the years, it's actually a relatively small number, but I do mention it a lot.
Hi there, it's Marcus. A quick plug, if I may, for my online portfolio reviews. These are just perfect for the photographer who wants to get better clients and, of course, make more money. They are an hour long, one-to-one, and they are recorded on Zoom, so that means I can send you a copy. For the hour, it's only £95 and you can sign up via my website on the tuition page. So thank you very much and I look forward to see you there.
So number 2 I'm going to talk about is LinkedIn outreach. Okay, so that's engaging and connecting with relevant people. So that doesn't mean you're just going, who can I connect with? Tick, 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 connect, and these random people all over the place. Yeah, because that is not a very, very good strategy. So before you start, you stop and think, who are my ideal clients? And for most photographers, obviously, some work all over the country, but the vast majority, you're instantly looking in a geographical area. How wide that is vary from photographer to photographer. And then you're usually also looking at a specific genre. If you're a headshot photographer working with corporates, you're looking at the corporate businesses in the area and the people in them. If you're a brand photographer working with accountants, you're looking for the accountants in the area. So you're really narrowing down who you want to connect with, thinking who would be my ideal target audience. And then you're starting to think about connecting with those. And then the best thing to do is find the people on LinkedIn. And first of all, don't just connect. Start with things like some of their posts, and then start to comment on some of their posts. And then maybe do a little bit of a chat on LinkedIn, or maybe connect first. It's kind of up to you which you do, but kind of don't just jump in with a connection. And then when you do the connection, I always recommend with a connection message and give a clear reason, and not a sales message, not, hi, I'm Sam. Would you like some headshots? More just, something about why you're connecting. I'm Sam, or let's say it's Marcus because you are a photographer. I'm Marcus. I'm trying to connect with business coaches in Bristol. It'd be lovely to connect. Just something honest and simple, so they know who you are and they know you've thought about it, if that makes sense. And then start a conversation. But I think the really key is, that's planning first. Who do you want to connect with? Who would you ideally like to be your clients? And then that, instead of just diving in with a connection, start to build a little bit first. Like some posts, comment on some posts, reply to some of their comments. So when they do get that invite, they already know who you are because you've kind of had a bit of a banter on a couple of posts and a bit of a chat. And it needs a bit of planning and thought. Because you've got to kind of play, maybe keep a list. So each, every couple of days you get back and, I'll make another comment with this guy and I'll make another comment on that woman's post. But, you just have to work on it and gradually get to know people and get connected with them. And then the key is also what do you think about what you're going to do next? Once you're connected with them, once they're seeing your posts, think about how you're going to move them to the next stage, be that being on your email newsletter, them buying something simple, whatever it is. So that's my next one is, LinkedIn outreach. Now, they're making it less and less cheap, unfortunately, LinkedIn. So you can do some outreach on free LinkedIn. Yes. But they do limit the number of invites you can send where you write something, and they do limit the number of invites you can send where you don't write something to, but it's bigger than the number of ones where you do write something in the connection.
Yeah, so they are always changing the parameters. Just going back on what you were saying, Sam, there's the drop down menu at the drop down menu at the top of the LinkedIn page where you can basically do it in different categories, different jobs, different areas.
Yeah, that's it. So you can
help you really dial that down.
Oh, definitely. You can do loads and loads of filtering there you're right, Marcus, to get exactly what you want by geography, by job, by all sorts of things, so you can get the people you want. And for some photographers, that would be quite a big list, and it's kind of quite a big job, while for others, it would be kind of a smaller list that you need to really work on more carefully, depending on who it might be that you've got two really big companies nearby that you desperately want to work with, so you're going to work really hard on a few people, or it might be you've got kind of a list of 100 accountants and you just kind of get through them,
Yeah. Well, for those larger firms, I would definitely be looking for the marketing team within those companies. And those are the people I'd be contacting as opposed to the CEOs or whatever. Yeah, it's the marketing teams that you want to contact.
That's it. They will be the one with the decision-making power on getting photographers in the marketing, won't they?
Yes.
And hopefully will be the ones that understand the power of the photography as well.
Yeah. I would do a lot of marketing companies.
That's it. Excellent. So that's the next one is the LinkedIn outreach. Okay. So number 3, is the webinar. So webinars are, they're basically free to do. You can do a webinar easily free. You can use, you do need something like Zoom. There are free versions. You can use things like Google Meets. They all work well. You can do webinar booking through LinkedIn. You can do, to be honest, the easiest way to do it, which is free, is Eventbrite. So I think we all know Eventbrite. And if you set up an event on Eventbrite where you don't charge, Eventbrite don't charge you. So it works well. They keep a list for you who's coming. You can look at any time and export. It's not like they hold the data and don't let you have it. And they also, you can put the Zoom link in and they send that out to everybody and send reminders. So they do all of that stuff automatically, which is really great. So Eventbrite does a really great job for that. Just like go with it. Nice and simple.
Yeah, but we did a webinar back in the early part of the year, didn't we? We did a webinar.
That's it.
And we must do another one. Actually, we should do another one. So that was really good fun.
We will. So why do a webinar then? Obviously, so we talked about the how. Why do a webinar? There's a few things. It shows you're an expert. So if somebody's listening to you for half an hour, whatever it is, you're kind of demonstrating you're an expert to them. You're showing generosity to them because you're giving time and they're learning. So they're kind of, I think feeling indebted is a strong word, but you know what I mean? They've seen that you've taken time and you're giving things to them. It just is a way of getting people in, again, getting their contact details so you can go on your mailing list. And then the key is you think, what do you want people to do next after the webinar? And at the end of the webinar, you kind of introduce that. So, at the end of the webinar, would you like to ... whatever it is, join my club of people who are learning how to shoot photographs, whatever it is that you're trying to do next, introduce it on the webinar and try and get them to make a decision there and then almost on the webinar, or you tell them all about it and then you drop them an email next. So they go, right, click here to purchase a headshot or to whatever it is you want them to do next. But make sure you kind of introduce that on the webinar while they're literally in front of you and you're talking to them. Recording the webinar also works well. One of the things me and Marcus found is lots of people go, I'd love to come, but I'm busy at that time. So put the recording online, but for a limited time, otherwise it doesn't kind of say, right, it's on for a week. And then you can still at the end of the week, come back to those people with the kind of whatever it is you want them to do next and take them through that. So the webinars are a really great way. You can get lots of people talking, you can get lots of people in the room. So instead of a one-to-one, which are great, but obviously there's only one person in the room. So in a week, there's a limited number of one-to-ones you can do, while with a webinar, you can, as long as you can get the audience in, you can talk to an awful lot of people in one go.
Indeed. And there's a software that I've used called OBS. It's a free software, and it's just absolutely perfect if you want to put on a bit more of a polished approach to your webinars, to include slides, etc. I really recommend giving that a go. It's really good fun.
Yep. Okay, it is good fun. I find I look at OBS and go, oh my God, it's the most complicated thing in the world. So you're right. I think it's one of those, once you've got the hang of it, it can do all sorts, but I do find the user interface slightly daunting, to say the least.
They got some weird, like the scene and stuff, but it's not that complicated. I mean, you can go deep on it, but if I can pick it up, Sam, you can certainly do it.
Okay, maybe I should try that again. Excellent. So that was number 3, was the webinar. Number 4 is networking. So we have talked about networking a fair bit.
Of course.
And I think for photographers, so we've been through, since the podcast started, the kind of wave of, well, we started the podcast after COVID, but obviously podcast has evolved, hasn't it? Before 2020, start again. Networking, not podcast. Networking has evolved, hasn't it? So before 2020, every networking meeting, give or take, beyond very weird ones, were in person. 2020 to 21, all networking was pretty much online. And then there's a mix now. There's some online, there's some in person, there's some hybrid. Now, my thought that is photographers, you want to go to the in person ones.
100%.
There's a few reasons. I mean, the main one for me is geography. So most photographers, like you said, work in a geographical area. And online, yes, there are groups, and we are the Norwich meeting and we are the Bristol meeting. But when they're online, they're not. They say they're the Bristol meeting, but people come from all over and they don't care. And they say they're the Norwich meeting, but there's somebody from Scotland, and I've dialed in from Mozambique, and there's people all over, so they're not. So for photographers where you really want those local people, I recommend the physical networking is better. And you do have to turn up, and it does take a lot more time, but I think because of the benefits involved specifically for photographers, it's worth going and doing the physical thing.
I totally agree with you, Sam. Face to face is where it really, really counts with photographers, because and refer back to the show that we did about branding, if I may say, about how to brand yourself, how to present yourself at these networking meetings, so you're memorable.
That's
in a good way.
And then another thing with that is maybe take along a tablet with a slideshow on that you can just pop on a table somewhere, and that just plays through. I used to do that for websites, and it would just play through websites. But you just got it pre-done and quietly put. Some networking events specifically have a place for that, others don't. Don't offend people. Put it in the middle of the room and annoy people, but pop that down somewhere where people can see. And I think what can work really well, and a lot of people I work with do, is the kind of offering headshots once in a while. Offer headshot sessions at the end of the networking events. Once you kind of got to know the people a little bit, and the organizer, you go right, to the organizer, could we do a headshot session at the end of the meeting, and people can book on. And this is actually going to link on to what I'm going to talk about next. And so you've kind of then got a way to get people in as customers for kind of a bit of a low pay, bit of a lower, something simple where they don't have to pay that much, but you're kind of going, and you can make it part of the networking. What people really love at networking is that sense of membership. So, that I'm doing this headshot event just for you guys in this group, special deal because you're all my buddies in this group. And that really worked. Do you find, Marcus? I found a networking event, they love that community, that it's just for us because we're in this club and we're in it together.
That's exclusivity.
Do you find people
definitely
respond to that at networking events?
Totally, exclusivity. And also to do remember, though, when you're talking to people, especially for the first time, the 80-20 rule, let them talk for 80% of the time and you're just going to talk for about 20% or something like that.
Definitely. Listen. I find the worst is when you're with somebody who's really good at networking, and it's always like a battle as to who can let the other speak more.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I've been there. No, you go first. No, you go first.
Yeah, that's it. And there are some people who they're so good. You just get to the end and you found you've spoken a lot. But yes, Marcus is right. Try and go in. Yeah, I think going into networking, not with the thinking of selling at all. You go in thinking about helping people. I don't mean by selling them stuff, by just, making connections, giving them advice, in a positive way. And two, listening. I think they're the two key things for success at networking, aren't they? Helping people and listening. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then number 5, which is actually follows exactly on from number 4, my semi-last one, because I've got 5.5. Number 5 is the discounted offer. So this is effectively not the final thing you want to sell. So let's say you're a brand photographer and you really want to sell, the big brand shoot. This is something that people have to part with some cash for, but it's relatively low cost, and it's kind of to get them into your world to see who's willing to pay, and then you want to move them on to the brand shoot. It almost leaves them wanting more. So like a headshot, a low cost headshot, and they kind of, you get them and you're talking to them and you're talking about how to use it in LinkedIn, and eventually like, I could do some more images, couldn't you? Like, yeah. And so you then move them onto the what you really want to sell. But they're kind of a way of, they filter out the people who are never going to pay money because they've got to pay something. And they gives them a chance to see your photographs. See, I think these can work well, sell something small, a single headshot. Tell people the real value and the discounted value. So it could be, my headshot sessions, my headshot sessions are normally whatever it is, 500 quid. But for today, for this discount, it's, 150, whatever it is. But you're giving them the proper value. And then you're saying, this is today, there's a special offer. So then when they do future shoots with you, there's not an expectation that everything's at a bargain price. You're telling them the value. So then when you go to the next thing up, the brand shoot or whatever, and it's also a high price. They already know what the headshot was worth, so it's comparable. You need to make it easy for yourself. So, you don't want these to take up loads of time because you're not actually going to make money from these. They're basically just as part of your sales thing. So something like after a networking event, you're already there, 20-minute slots, bang, bang, bang. Or not going to people's houses, just, this will happen for half a day. I will be at this place, and people literally have half-hour slots, and they come and go. So you can within half a day get through a load of people. There's a possibility of upselling too. So you get one headshot, but actually they've noticed you've taken 10, so they could buy. There's the upsell possibility, and you're leaving people wanting more. They've got the headshot, they use it, but as you're talking to them, they realize that's really good. It's really improved my LinkedIn profile. What am I going to use on my posts now? So that, I need some more. I move on to the brand shoot. So yes, I think that's my fifth one, is that kind of discounted offer, but you've got to be really clear what the real value is, and you've got to have a plan to move them to the real sale. Because although they've become a customer, it's not what you really want to sell to them, if you know what I mean. It's just part of the journey to get there. Cool. So that's 5, but we do have 5.5. So Marcus was laughing at me at the beginning for having a half. So the half is basically, all I'm going to say is have a plan to move between the different parts of your marketing. So it's all well getting lots of connections on LinkedIn, but if they just stay there, they don't become customers. Yeah, it's all very well getting people into that discounted headshot or whatever you do, but if you don't have a plan to then move them on to do the brand shoot, there's no point. So the key that my last one is, you've got to join the dots. You might have these different areas of marketing, but unless you think how you move people from one to the next and have a really clear plan for that, you're not going to actually end up with customers, which is what you want.
Great.
There we go. 5.5 low cost small business marketing tools for UK photographers.
Well, that was a jam-packed show there with 5.5 top tips for your low-cost marketing toolkit. Just to quickly recap the 3 most important things you've learned from listening today. First, we showed you how to properly and legally utilize the existing contact data from past inquiries you have in your business to instantly build a powerful marketing list. Second, you learned the 3-step strategy for warming up leads on LinkedIn, ensuring you engage with the right decision makers like marketing managers before reaching out. And finally, we covered the vital half step. That is, having a clear plan to use a discounted, low-cost initial offer as a funnel to successfully convert those clients into buyers of your premium services.
And don't forget that you can get for free the Commercial Photographer Guide to Creativity and Marketing. After all, that's what this show is all about. To get your free download, all you need to do is go to our website at commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. Let me do that one again. commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. And from there, you can get your free guide from us to marketing and creativity. I will see you next week, Marcus.
Okay, mate. See you next week.
And thanks for listening to this week's episode. If you want to make sure you never miss a show, head to our website and sign up for the newsletter. We'll be back next week with more practical advice to help you grow your business. See you next time.